Hey everybody, welcome back. We've just begun the game and we only have the vague instructions of arming ourselves and then meeting our foster father Gorion before we leave the fortress city of Candlekeep. Now, this opening area serves mostly as a tutorial. There are a number of subquests that you can complete to sort of introduce yourself to the game and the mechanics. I'm going to complete these quests even though they are not necessary. And going back to our instructions, we are first to arm ourselves, and the way to do that will be to enter here. This is the Candlekeep Inn, and we might be able to find a merchant there who will sell us some equipment. There are a number of icons here on the left side of the screen, which I'll give a brief summary of. We have our map here, the hotkey being M. This will open up our map, and this button here will show us our world map. We are located in the city of Candlekeep, and right now there's not a whole lot here. We can see that the sprawling city of Baldur's Gate lies to the north. There are a couple of other landmarks here, the Friendly Arm Inn, the city of Baragost, and the city of Nashkel. But there are quite a few more areas to explore in between each of these cities. Now, going back to our map here, most of it is obscured by the cover of darkness, which we will not be able to uncover until we ourselves explore that area. Going on, we have our journal here, which is quite empty, but this is where any quests that you've picked up, any progress you've made on your quests, and related to the overarching plot of the game will be recorded. We have our inventory screen here. You have a number of important things to go over. Your gold in the top right corner, your name and your class, your hit points, both current and maximum, your armor class, and the items that you are currently wielding. Here is our character screen where you can go back to see exactly what statistics you have, a brief summary of your character's vital information, and a number of other options which are unimportant at this time. We have our mage spellbook, which will be entirely useless to our paladin, but the priest scroll, which will become relevant later in the game after rising to a certain level, we will unlock a number of priest spells. This is where you go to save the game. You can immediately save the game by just hitting the key Q. That is your quick save. And with that said, let's begin. So, entering into the inn here, it's simple point and click. The left mouse button will be of the utmost importance. You can at any time pause the game and unpause the game with the spacebar. This will be important later when we have a number of party members. You can pause the game, set the commands for each party member, and then unpause the game, and have the necessary time to react. Now, looking around the inn, we have a few savvy-looking folks here. You can highlight them and it will tell you their name and if there's any other important information. If they have a blue circle around their character sprite, that means that they are neutral, and at this time they will not attack you. They are minding their own business, and depending on how we interact with them, that could quickly change. If there is a red circle here, they are hostile and they will seek to attack us. And if they have a green circle, they are a member of our party, or a creature that has been summoned by our party. Now here we have the owner of this fine establishment, Winthrop, so I'm going to go and speak to him and see if it is he who has the necessary items for us. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of dialogue, and I will do my best to never speak over any recorded dialogue. So some is scripted, some is not. Some people will have just a small reaction by clicking on them to acknowledge that you have selected them. But some of the written dialogue here actually has a voiceover to go along with it. I'll do my best to never speak over this in respect to the phenomenal voice acting. So, reading through our options here, we can select 1, 2, or 3. This Winthrop feller, from my knowledge of him, I know that he is quite the kidder, so I will select option 2. And here he offers to show us his selection of drinks, a room to sleep, and other items. So we're going to take a look at what he has. This is where you can rest. Depending on the amount of gold you're willing to spend, you have increasingly more extravagant quarters, and the nicer area that you rest in, the more health points that you will gain by resting. Here we have the buying items and selling them. We have drinks. Sometimes they'll offer a rumor or some such tidbit of information depending on how much you purchase. And here we can attempt to steal, but only with a thief present in the party. I cannot steal any of his wares. But being the honorable and noble paladin that I am, I would much prefer to pay him fairly for what he offers. So scrolling through, we have quite a selection of weapons. We have armor coming up, and sometimes they'll sell potions and spell scrolls. So after scrolling through, I have 120 gold to spend. I'm going to just pick out a number of things that I think will be useful for our adventure. A helmet and shield. We'll pick up some armor. I'm not quite sure how much money we'll be able to afford on this, but leather armor being the weakest to splint and chainmail, which are significantly more durable, but also more expensive. I'll probably go with something in the middle, such as studded leather armor. Being a bow-wielding paladin, I might want to pick up a number of arrows. Each stack of arrows for 1 gold consists of 20 projectiles. I'll also pick up a weapon here. We have two-handed swords and long swords. Both of these match my proficiency in large swords, the difference being the number of hands required to wield them. Since I already have a plan to use a shield, I'm going to go with the one-handed weapon here. And continuing on, a bow with our 62 gold we're spending. That doesn't leave a whole lot left over, so I'm going to go with a short bow. And let's see what that does for us. Now we're going to equip our items, getting rid of our quarterstaff. I much prefer the power of the long sword and a shield. I have some armor. You can see here my armor class is decreased from 6 to 5 by using a shield, and you can right click on an item to pull up a description of what it does and the actually important statistics. So it gives me a bonus of 1 to my armor class and a further bonus versus missile weapons. So arrows and slings and bullets, I will be able to block them even more effectively as if I had an armor class of 4. And remembering that the lower your armor class, the better. Wearing studded leather armor will decrease it further. A helmet protects me from being critically struck. And we can't wield a bow just yet because it's a two-handed weapon and our shield is equipped, but I'll at least have it here with me so that I can, in a pinch, unequip my shield and replace it with that. I'm going to save real quick, and now exploring the tavern further. If you highlight anything that is selectable, it will be outlined in blue, much like an NPC. And going up to this cabinet here, we see that it is locked. Now, if I was a thief, I might be able to pick the lock, but being the brawny fighter that I am, I might just be able to force it, and we have successfully forced the lock open. This doesn't award experience points like picking it might, but at the very least we have opened it, and we're going to investigate what is inside, a number of gold coins and some spell scrolls. Those could be relevant to us later. Now, further exploring the tavern, we just have a dagger. I don't particularly need one. Speaking to a nobleman who's quite haughty, he would like some time alone, so I think we will do just that. Further exploring the tavern, we have a number of robed men, one who looks even more grand than the other, so we're going to speak to him. It is our friend Firebead Elvenhair. He has returned from Baraghost to Candlekeep, and he has a chore for us to run. If we might be so kind, he has asked us to pick up an identify scroll that is being kept with Tethril in the inner grounds. So our journal has been updated, as you can see here. We have the brief description of what exactly our quest entails. So we're going to do just that and keep our eyes open for Tethril while we are exploring the city. Now once we have left, we're going to go in a clockwise motion, I'll say, see how many other characters we might be able to interact with. Here we have Lydia.
Hello there.
We'll see what she has to say. She's looking for the History of Halrua, which is a book. They have a number of books here that will, they're purely meant to be read at your own leisure. They're not vital to the story for the most part, and they just give you a back history sort of areas that you wouldn't be able to get an understanding of otherwise. So we're looking for that book, and she has updated our journal as well. Moving on. Some tutors. They serve the role of a tutorial. They will explain exactly how to accomplish something. If you have any questions, moving on, here we have the priest's quarters. So I think I'll check those out. See what we have in here.
Hello.
It seems a character is coming to interact with us himself. He's been looking for me, and he has identified me as the Ward of Gorion. That I am. And it is his mission to end our life. Well, we'll see about that. I will raise my sword in defense. So he has turned red to show his hostile intent. His name is Shank, and pretty straightforward. There's only one line of work that I think you'd qualify for. So let us engage in combat. We're going to swing our sword as he stabs with his dagger, and we prevail. You can see here that my attack dealt 8 damage to him after a number of misses, but he had less than 8 HP, and he was slain. Looking around here, we have some more locks to attempt to force, more daggers to find and leave behind. So this is most interesting. We have already been the victim of an assassination attempt just 5 minutes or so into the game. So that is quite strange. Perhaps our foster father Gorion will have something to share on this. Continuing on, we have someone else coming to speak with us, Parda. There was something amiss, but I don't really want to worry him and let him know that there are such menacing characters roaming about the city, so I will say the less confrontational option. And he reiterates the point that Gorion is desperate for us to be off. Speaking with Dreppen, seems that Flydia left her book here, in the hay behind us. That's a very odd place to be reading, but we will go over to inspect this pile of hay here, and it seems this is the one. So here we have the History of Halrua. That is exactly the book that we're looking for, so we're going to return that over here to Flydia. And you can immediately tab to your character by clicking on their portrait. You can also see where they are presently on the map at any time to round them up. So here we have Flydia. We're going to go and speak with her. And we have brought her back her book, and she's given us a gem, which we may be able to make use of by speaking to a shopkeep. It is a lynx eye gem. Now, sometimes your quest rewards will differ based on your reaction score. This is how the character interacting with you sees you. The higher your charisma and reputation, the more favorable reaction they'll have towards you, and might yield better rewards. Continuing on, we have here the Temple of Ogma. If I sought healing, then I could speak with one of the priests here. There's probably one who is located there. Here we have John Nalar, and he is going to forcibly teach us how to fight. So he's going to spring a little surprise on me, but I will engage in combat. I do not believe this is a menacing confrontation here. As you can see, he struck me a number of times, but for 0 damage, so he's not trying to hit me. And the surprise was apparently an archer who was going to loose some arrows at me, but our fight ended before that could even take place. Speaking with Revor, he has asked us to clean the rats out of the building yesterday. My goodness, I will hasten to accomplish this. There's a number of rats here and some cats that don't seem to be doing their job very well, so I have been hired. Now, rats are not a very dangerous foe, and I can do my best to clean up this mess here. Some help from these cats might be appreciated, but we're nearly there. We've completed our task, and a quick perusal through this stockhouse has yielded very little. But a silver ring, that could become useful indeed. Speaking to Revor, he has awarded us 5 gold points, and cautioned us not to spend it all at once. Alright, so continuing on our clockwise path here, we're going to see if there's anybody else who needs our assistance. And as I explore further, the fog of war dissipates. Here we have Guardsman Hull, who, in his haste this morning, left his sword behind. Well, it's not the easiest to serve as a guard without your sword, so I will hasten to the barracks and hopefully find his sword there.
Our rules are very strict.
Here we are being interacted with by the Gate Warden to teach us mass combat. So this is another tutorial in which we'll be given temporary party members, but I am already familiar enough with that I can forego this knowledge and continue on. So here this looks to be a bunkhouse, or the barracks perhaps. So I'm going to go in here and look around for a sword.
I have a blade with your
Well,
name
perhaps
on
not.
it.
We have someone else to interact with. Carbos. I already have a bad feeling about this character. Seems we have yet another assassination attempt. Well, I'll seek to handle this as I did the last one, and that I did. So, what is going on here? We seem to have made ourselves an enemy of some nefarious characters. Continuing on, somebody else to speak to us. Shouting. So it seems like we are being hurried along at an even greater pace than we expected. So here's the barracks here. We are going to quickly get in and get out. We're going to check through all these chests and hopefully find one that is not locked. No such luck just yet. Perhaps it is here. Aha, we have found Hull's longsword and an antidote to boot. So we're going to take that. First, we might check with Fuller. Ask him if we have any errands to run. Seems that he needs a quarrel of crossbow bolts. Well, the best place to find that would probably be back at the inn. So I'm going to continue back to Fuller, who I recall was somewhere in this area. I will give him his sword. I will make way through the inner grounds, which is where that Firebead character here mentioned that we could find Tethril, who has his identify item scroll. And then that way we can hand off that at the same time that we pick up some crossbow bolts. Just some various watchers here. I believe this is the esteemed Hull. So we will speak with him and offer him back his sword. We certainly did take our time because we were the victim of an assassination attempt. So he will, however, compensate us with 10 gold pieces. And now we are going to proceed through the inner grounds.
Hey, it's me, Imoen.
We have someone to speak with here. Imoen. Now, she, as a character, we have known her for most of our life. We've both grown up in Candlekeep. We're approximately the same age. And I have no time to spare, unfortunately. I must make haste to see Gorion. And it seems like she is very antsy to join us, so I will do what I can to ask Gorion if such a thing is possible. So I will try to keep them waiting as little as possible. Make my way through these beautiful grounds. And here we have Tethril. Just the man we were looking for. And he seems to have been expecting us. He knows that we've come for the scroll. So we're going to continue on back. The scroll of identify item here, which is a divination spell. Going to make our way through the grounds. And return to the inn where we began our journey. So first we're going to hand off our scroll to Firebead Elvenhair.
Nowadays.
And he's going to cast a little spell on us to protect us from evil that we might encounter this night. Well, that might have been more useful earlier before our confrontations in the bunkhouse.
Girl's as clean as an elven arse.
speaking with our good friend Winthrop, we're going to look for a quarrel of bullets. Or excuse me, bolts. So we only need one. We're going to grab one, and with some of our leftover expenses, we'll also pick up a few quivers of arrows, because it's very easy to run through those. And I'm actually going to end the video here and pick up where we left off in the next one. So thank you for watching thus far. And